then instead of in practice, all the Slytherin characters were just like white supremacists. But like, I was a big fan of the Free the Nipple campaign.
No, bro, it's more like going from like cupcakes to asses, dude. That's
Yeah.
Alright, welcome back to another episode of the Fundamental Podcast. We're here with Andrew Pingo, Carl Schaefer, Tristyn and Andrew. Welcome back. So yeah, what's been going on, bro?
Hey, great to be here, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Of course,
So
dude,
excited.
of course. We can't not have you on.
Yeah.
You're leaving us soon.
I am. I'm moving to Dublin, Ireland.
That's crazy, bro. You're
Yeah.
gonna study there, right?
Yeah, I'm studying at a university called Griffiths College.
Nice.
Hectic.
Nice. Like just some Harry Potter business there.
Yeah. I thought that was in Scotland. Did you ever read the Harry Potter books?
Yes.
Really? Which house are you in?
Bro, Gryffindor. Fam.
You give huge Gryffindor energy, actually.
Oh,
Tristan,
know
what
what
about you?
Bro,
Slytherin.
I have
the
read
snake.
nothing.
Tristan's not a Slytherin.
No.
I have one book. I have
Hufflepuff.
like the first book. I
first
haven't even
one,
touched
yeah.
it, dude.
What's the useless one that like
There.
smokes weed all day? Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
Who's that?
Tristan
It's
gives
the
some
yellow one.
Hufflepuff vibes.
Bro, I
He's
don't
very
know.
friendly.
Yeah, like super
Yeah.
chill. Want to do
Yeah.
like they want to do some gardening all day.
I always get Slytherin when I take this like online test.
Bro,
I don't know what it is.
You're just ambitious. I feel like
It's the
Slytherin gets a bad
ambition,
rap.
That's the thing.
Slytherin
Like,
gets
you
a
know,
bad
it's
rap.
written. If J.K. Rowling was a better writer, Slytherin would have been a much better house. Because she just was like anyone ambitious goes here, but then instead of in practice, all the Slytherin characters were just like white supremacists. But like,
Nazis.
it's like that is not the criteria you set for yourself. You're ignoring your own criteria.
Like for Slytherin, I would have
That's
said
crazy.
I would have put pros and cons for each house.
Yeah.
I would have put Gryffindor like they're brave and they're charismatic, but their downfall is that like
they're stupid.
they're stupid or like they blindly follow emotion. They're not logical.
Or they're impulsive.
Impulsive, yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing in the I haven't read them, but the Percy Jackson books are like all of them have like ADHD as like a symptom of their like powers.
Yeah,
Something.
because godly
And that's
blood is
used-
just so inbred that no, I'm joking. But you know, I mean, that's what Percy Jackson
Imagine.
books were, bro. It was
Yeah.
basically gods that came down to earth, did some business, and had a whole bunch of kids. It was basically the orphanage of the gods.
Yeah, well, it's a more
But it was such
realistic
a great book, bro.
interpretation
I
of
loved
Greek
it.
mythology.
Huh?
You know, I mean that's follows Greek mythology.
Yes.
It's like 90% of Greek mythology is just Zeus having sex and then everything goes wrong.
And then Hera going, Zeus, I'm upset, bro. What are you doing?
Dude.
But literally, the only reason why I have Greek knowledge, only reason why I know like the Greek pantheon,
Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson.
Really. I was one of those like kids that like was super into Greek mythology.
Oh, bro.
Do you remember
like
that?
before
Like,
drama, dude, because that's
Yeah.
all I know, bro, is from drama.
no, but like I was
Very
in, I
basic
never
stuff.
actually read the Percy Jackson books though. But
Me neither, bro. I haven't.
we had that
I haven't
app.
read like any.
In
stuff.
like computer
remember,
class.
were you there when they went from Greek to Rome?
Greek to Rome.
They went from like Greek mythology, then they went Roman.
like in drama.
I mean,
Oh,
I wasn't there. I was a bit young.
Did you see who was it? Aristotle. Who was the one that walked around like with nothing, with no possession?
Socrates.
Oh, Dionysus.
Dionysus, yeah.
Dionysus. Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about
No,
a
not
god. I
Di-
thought you were talking about.
No, I'm
No,
talking about
Dionysus
the
is the
philosopher.
god of
Like
wine.
Nothing, bro.
Was it Diogenes or something?
Yeah, son.
He lived in the barrel.
Correct.
And he drank. He had that story is like he only had like 3 possessions, and one of them was a cup. And then he saw someone drinking from their hands, and he's like, "I've been an idiot. I could have been doing that the whole time." And he got rid of the
Wow,
bowl.
Yeah, dude. Just be no, I get you weren't there,
He
but
was
were
so
you there
funny.
for like no? So basically the author wrote like 5 books, Greek mythology. Then he introduced, I'm not sure, like Roman characters, and then they had a book where they combined the characters from the Greek, from the Roman,
Bro.
and it was sick. And bro, I was like, this was my favorite books growing up, bro. Like, and he even did like an Egyptian series.
Yeah,
Really?
the new Rick
Oh,
Warren
bro,
you're
Egypt's
talking
cool.
about.
Yeah. Oh, it's a
Yeah.
dude, yeah.
The Percy Jackson. No, I haven't actually read it. I read the first one actually, The Lightning Thief, but I didn't keep going. But I've been thinking about rereading them because I'm actually getting into a lot of like this YA fiction stuff now. Because I stopped reading after high school when I was
Same,
doing
bro.
when I,
I
yeah
read nothing.
when I was doing AP English. I read so many books and then I stopped. So now I've been reading like these easier books, like these fiction, these like YA stuff instead of like classics and these things.
They
They're
get
so much
they get a bit
harder.
daunting, yeah.
Yeah.
No, like I'd love to read the classics, like, but they get a bit heavy. You need time.
You got to
need-
be in the mood too, as well. Like you got to be in the mood to like dissect and like it takes like mental energy. It's kind of work to read the classics. Whereas like if you want to read just for fun, you want like these lighter books. Like I've been reading. I read the series called The Cruel Prince.
Yeah.
It was just one of my sister's book series. It was about like fairies and these girls get trapped in like a kingdom of fairies, and then there's like wars. It's like sort of like Game of Thrones, but with like less characters. So it's
PG
not like-
Game of Thrones.
No, definitely not PG.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
not like 7 books. It was like 1,000 characters. Like it was 3 books. But it was
So-
like sort of Game of Thrones. It was like war.
Game
and
of Thrones
politics.
1-on-1. Yeah, 101. You know.
And it was fun. I read the whole thing in like 2 weeks. I read all 3 books. It was quick. I just read them before.
Sure,
Because
3
it was-
books
it's
in
so
2
much-
weeks.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not bad. I did Harry Potter in a month when I was a
I
kid.
also did Harry Potter very quickly.
Bro, I read slowly, dude. I read like...
But that
No.
memory stays in there, locks in.
Yeah.
Does it though?
I find like
No, sometimes.
when I'm trying to read like these books, I read buy like political theory or I buy like the classic books.
Yeah.
And like reading those, it's like I could spend a whole night on one chapter because it's very slow. It's dense. You have to dissect it.
And
These
like there's
books you can-
meaning, like there's
Yeah.
thick.
You have to like interpret. You think about it. These books, these like YA books, you can get through like 3-4 chapters just before bed. They're quick. They're fun. They're like entertaining. It's like watching a sitcom.
It is, but the thing with these books that always gets me is like a bit of the teenage angst. It's just like,
Yeah.
and they get very
I still have the
tropey.
teenage angst.
But it's very tropey as well. It's like I'm the hero, or I have to like you can see the hero's journey happening constantly in all
Yeah.
these books because they don't try and mix up the formula. It's like, okay, hero, it's high. Do you know how it always goes? It goes
Yeah.
little high,
Big up.
drop, and then they have like they rise from the phoenix moment where they come back and save the day, or you know
I
what I'm
know what you
saying?
mean.
Like everything's good, and then his parents die, or
Yeah,
like,
there's always this.
there's like tragedy in tragedy.
The lowest moment in the other third act. No, I get what you mean. They are a bit tropey. There are some that break the tropes, and I think it's interesting, like, the ones that break the tropes, or the ones that do the tropes, but differently. You know, the sort of ones that, like, dissect the tropes. Although, I've been kind of weird, you know. I've been recently thinking about it, and, like, I've kind of grown out of this whole, like, meta humor comedy. It's, like, where these, like, the lampshading, like, Deadpool movies, for example,
Yeah.
you know?
that
like-
poke fun at
Yeah.
poking
There
fun.
was a Bo Burnham discussion. He's like, this Deadpool sense of humor, he's so sick of it. And I was thinking about it, and he raised some good points because it's like the Deadpool movie, like it pokes fun at all the tropes of superhero movies. But at the end of the day, they still made 2 of those movies where they did all the tropes of the superhero. Like it's,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
it's
true.
fun. Like the novelty at first was like, they're making fun of like the superhero landing and the third act battles and the sky beams. But at the end of the day, they still have the superhero landings and the sky beams and the third act battles. They're not actually like breaking the genre. So it's like, you know, the Deadpool movies are great because they were quite new and they were the biggest ones to do it. But it's like we're now like 5 years past that. It's like, I don't want to see another deconstruction of the genre.
I think that's,
wanna
but
see
do you know
people
what's the
move
thing?
past.
I think it's a cyclical thing. So everything in life, like if you like look at drama, for example, like errors or like certain play styles was always a contradiction
Yeah,
of the
you pulled on the
previous
last
one.
of the previous. So romanticism was love and like you fall in love with the characters, you become
Yeah.
the characters, and then we went from romanticism to realism, which was
Yeah,
the next
like
era,
reacts to it,
which was
yeah.
the next era of dramatics,
Yeah.
drama,
Yeah,
right?
and you had modernism and postmodernism.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's also cyclical. You need
Yeah.
20 Avengers films for 2 Deadpool films to like
deconstruct, yeah.
knock out. You know, give it the 1-2
I know.
punch.
I know, but it's like what I'm talking about is like now that we've had the Deadpool film,
What's
like,
next?
I don't need the next. Like Deadpool can keep doing it; he's built the thing. But like others, I don't need another series like deconstructing superheroes or a next one. Like let's move on. Like you know, you can. We've deconstructed. Now let's build. And also, I was thinking it goes to generations as well, because there was a sort of like millennial thing of like doing everything ironically, right?
Yes.
And it's sort of, and if you do everything ironically, it's kind of very hollow. And I think Gen Z as like a generation is that a lot of the media we consume, we're now looking for authenticity. We're looking for like sincerity, right?
Because everything's fake. Everything in our
Yeah.
reality society is fake.
Absolutely.
Like all our like besides politicians have always been fake, but
Yeah.
like our
Beyond the
our
characters,
movie
yeah.
stars, our musicians, it's all
Yeah.
fake. You know?
We have our movie stars are more real though now than before.
Yeah, because of social media.
Yeah, social media has given us such access to famous people that they never had. Like before, social media, like they were 100% curated by like the studio themselves.
Yeah, you go home, you do a movie, and you go home, and then like a paparazzi like snaps one pic of you, and it's like, whoa.
The stars were like properties. They were like literally, they had a marketing team behind each celebrity. They were property of the studio. Now, like celebrities, we have like more access to them than ever. Their lives are fully streamed. You see that thing the other day, all the TikTokers were at some party in LA, and one of the fucking Jonas brothers came, and he like bought a Scientology necklace, and he made them all try it on and posted a video about it. And it's like that stuff would have never leaked. That would have never gotten out before. And it's like the publicists did get him to remove it off TikTok, but then that's now everyone's sharing it. Now we have this access to it. Like you wouldn't have that before. You see these like leaks and slip-throughs now, and they're trying to like wrestle it back.
But like, why is he trying to get them photos with?
Oh, he was just pulling a prank. He was like, I'm gonna get them all cancelled.
Oh,
I didn't know what the necklace was. He bought like a necklace covered in diamonds, but it had the big Scientology symbol. And like, I'm gonna be fair, I wouldn't have recognized the Scientology symbol either.
And they tried. What was it? Nick, Joe?
It was the young one. You know, what's his name? The bonus Jonas.
The bonus?
Frankie Jonas, the little brother. He wasn't in the band.
There's a little brother?
Yeah, they had a little brother, and he became a TikTok celebrity.
Forget the drummer. Forget the third brother that no one remembers.
They had a fourth brother, but like, when they had their show and their fame, he was like 10 or 12, and they were all like 20s when they were doing the band.
Yeah.
And I think he was in that little show. He was like little. He was. If you go back and watch it, I remember seeing.
Oh, so he was just like making bands, and I was gonna say, okay.
Had, like, a little brother, and then he recently became like TikTok famous, and then got cancelled for something, and then he went to this party and did this prank.
He's just so clearly like looking for attention, and
bro, he's starved from it. I mean, your brothers are Jonas brothers, bro. Like,
how can you not? I mean, the amount of attention his brothers have got is ridiculous.
But now he's managed to make himself an internet micro celebrity.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference? What, do you go to a soul-sucking corporation to like give you the startup, or?
Yeah, dude, imagine you're like working in a call center and you're like one of the Jonas brothers.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy.
It's like, this is AT&T. How can I take your call? I know I said AT&T because American, right? Or this is Telkom. Andrew Jonas. What can I do for you?
I saw a thing the other day. It was like, I was talking about like, it's so crazy that Elvis, at the height of his career, got drafted into the war. Because like, imagine that still happened today, and it's like you're in the middle of like a war, and someone else cover me, and it's Beyonce. Like, that would be great.
I mean,
like celebrities had
to go. You got to go.
Yeah, they tried to draft Muhammad Ali, but like he didn't go out of protest because he didn't support the Vietnam.
Yeah, but that was his.
But like, imagine he did go, and you're just like in Vietnam, and the world's greatest boxer, who's like a huge celebrity, just there next to you. Like,
I mean, it's sort of like Son, like recently.
Oh yeah, when he had to go do his
like military training, But he won that Asia Cup. Yeah, and he was like. Not sacrificed to like the army for like 2 years.
But dude, he came like first or whatever, like first or second in his class of training.
You're a professional athlete, and like I'm sure you did, and I'm sure you like half bummed it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to get injured because your job is to play soccer, not to fight a war. So I'm sure you like half 50%.
You probably did that the way like politicians do their military service.
Oh yeah.
What is his name? Like there was that guy. He ran for president. Buttigieg. He basically did like a...
Buttigieg is the Canadian one.
No, he was in America. Who's the Canadian? Pete, Mayor Pete. That guy.
Yeah, Buttigieg.
He was in the army, but he did like 6 months is mostly in admin, and like just like 2 months like in the field, like walking around. And it's like, see, I served my country. And it's like, you did a glorified publicity stunt.
Yeah, you did a desk job, bro.
Yeah, But that's the whole thing, like, since they've gotten rid of the draft, it's the whole thing that only like you don't actually have to send rich kids to die in the wars, which is why the wars can go on for so long. Because as long as like the middle class doesn't have to care about the wars, they're going to keep voting for you. They don't really care, and it's like poor people don't really vote. And they don't really have any influence.
Heavy.
So they have a new thing. It's called the poverty draft. Basically, it's like, you know, the only way you can get like healthcare and jobs and employment in like America or like even here in South Africa, one of the best ways to do it is to join the army.
Yeah.
Right? So they can send like working class kids
Yeah.
to go fight the wars for them, which means they never have to stop the wars. Like in Vietnam, the war stopped because they were sending people of like the middle class to go fight in wars, this pointless war, and then people were like, wait, why are we fighting this war? Right? The wars can go on much longer now because no one cares what happens to these kids. The politicians don't care, their parents don't vote, they have no money, no power, no influence. So they can just endlessly send them to the Middle East to like get oil, and no one ever questions like, wait a minute, why are we doing genocide in Yemen? Like what is this for?
Yeah, bro.
I like how we went from discovering there's a fourth Jonas brother
to the poverty drop. Bit of a flow.
Yeah. Jeez,
It's
bro.
just how my mind works.
Nah, bro, but yeah, no.
Train of thought.
Yeah, so like, it's just what it is, you gotta keep going.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But
So, like,
speaking of Yemen, bro, you was in Israel for a whole time.
I was in Palestine for a whole time.
Palestine, the same thing.
Yeah, I lived there.
Is it?
What?
Take
Is it
take it
I
easy.
did a
man.
bit of a. I lived there. I did a bit of an internship at a filmmaking company, or
Yeah.
like like a production company. They did all sorts of things. Like they would record conferences for like corporations or like
Yeah.
concerts, or they would make adverts, or they would also
That's awesome.
they would run news as well. There was like
Yeah.
if they needed like a news studio, like let's say in America.
So like a production company, just like
Yeah.
a general
Yeah.
film.
And you specifically, what did you do? Did you operate the cameras?
Well, I was
edit,
interning,
or-
so like I started out doing a little bit of everything. When there was no work to do, like on site, I would do editing most of the day, right?
Okay.
That was the thing. I'd do editing, or they would like teach me how to do photography and like
Yeah.
sound. And then when there was production, I started out as like just running crew, like helping construct the sets, cameras, the stuff,
Yeah.
putting together everything. And then eventually they put me on camera, so I started doing film, and like they did this big concert. I think it was called the March of the Living. It's this big
Yeah.
thing in Israel where like survivors of the Holocaust come, or then their grandkids
Yeah.
come, and they put on a big event. All the shows, bands perform.
Oh wow, that's
Like
pretty
in
cool.
memory. And I was like on stage with the band, like when you see like
Yeah.
just getting the shots of the band like on
Yeah.
camera. That was insane. That was
Wow,
so
dude.
intense because like they're like blasting music and you're right by the speakers, but you're like you're holding
Gotta
like
get the shot.
Yeah.
you're holding like $40,000 worth of camera equipment on
Jeez,
yourself.
dude.
It's like really don't want to mess up here.
Nah,
That's
Schaefer
crazy.
just popped the.
Yeah.
Just hit the.
But
Just-
you enjoyed it though.
No, yeah, that was fun. I really did enjoy it, and you get such good experience like working.
Yeah.
Like you learn. Like I did some film school after that. Like I went to Australia and did some film school.
Yeah.
And I just learned so much more about like the practicalities of film
Yeah.
from that like being there for 6 months, like just filming, like editing adverts and like recording news clips. And I ever did from like studying film in university for 6 months.
Yeah, I can imagine, dude. Like
Is-
learning through doing is the best.
Is the filmmaking process is it like we've scratched the surface, like
Yeah.
what we've been doing here, and like I feel like I've cracked open an iceberg. It's like massive. I
There's
don't.
so much like to consider. You don't consider everything that goes into a film. And like our drama teacher always told us this because there were lots of people who were like, we love doing drama, but like we don't want to actually go into like acting
Yeah.
or production or sound or writing or anything. And he's like, you guys have no idea how big the film industry is.
Yeah.
Because the excuse was always like, there are no jobs, there is no opportunity, we want to do something stable. It's like you have no idea how big there is. Like every camera, every thing has like camera, lighting, editing, footage, sound, just setting up, working on crew, writing. There are thousands of writers on each TV show you have. There are hundreds of editors. There are so many people at each studio working cameras, working lighting, working... Like, it is not a small industry. Like, around the world, that is a huge industry. And people really do talk about like... Because the reason they have this block is like, well, you either become an actor, a director, or like a head writer.
Yeah.
And that's how you succeed. And there's only like an elite group of a few specialized people can manage to do that and make it and be successful. And everyone else is just throwing away their lives, going to auditions and trying until they give up.
Yeah, when
But
you
it's
could
like,
just get a job like
there
within
are
the
so
industry.
many jobs in the industry to work on it if you actually like doing it. And you will, there is creative stuff to do. Like, just like filming a concert,
Yeah.
there's so much stuff. You don't have to be the cinematographer on the next Tarantino movie.
Correct.
Filming a
Yeah.
concert, if you actually like filming and you want to do creative stuff, there's so much opportunity there.
And-
to, like, make decisions and choices and be creative. And it pays well. Like, it's not it's not going to make you rich, but it's also a good like
A good
stable
life.
job.
Yeah.
And it's like if it's much more fun than working at a desk for someone like me. I would much rather do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was about
Filming.
and I was thinking, with like online digital content, things have doubled. Things have exponentially
Yeah.
doubled.
Especially
We now have
COVID,
YouTube, we have
everything.
podcasts, we have
Bruno,
all of
how
the
many
stuff.
YouTube channels are hiring just young editors? Or
Yeah,
like,
so many people.
you know what I'm saying? The only
Yeah.
difference I'd say about stability isn't a thing with online creators versus traditional.
Yeah. I think a lot of the online creators that make it, the difference between them and a lot of the other people is a lot of them go into it as a creative
just let
outlet.
us know. Don't let like anyone
Yeah.
else. Yeah, just
I'll let me. Like, I'm glad you guys have this podcast because it's such a good like creative outlet. It's something
Yeah,
you can do to
exactly.
create. Because we all did drama in high school, and I feel
Yeah.
like after high school, there's so little stuff to create. Everything has to be like a hustle, a job, and something to make you
yeah.
money. Like so many people. There's no more hobby culture. It's all hustle culture,
yes,
and everything.
that died. Like hobby culture died.
Yeah, there's no more. Everything has to
There's
be
no more
monetized.
clubs. Have you noticed? There's no more clubs.
Yeah, there's no more clubs. Like I really miss like after school activities. Like
Yeah.
we would do plays at school. Like
Yeah,
you'd
like
just
house
for like
plays and
3
stuff.
months you would
Yeah.
just go and like hang. We don't everything if it's not monetized, if you're not doing it professionally,
Yeah.
there's nothing. So like doing a podcast, it's like maybe it'll blow up and you guys will be very successful and make money. But also, even if you don't, it's fun to do. You can put out
Yeah,
a
it's
creative outlet that
Yeah.
we don't really have anymore. You know?
Like honestly, I was doing my degree and whatnot. I was just like, I'd get depressed, I'd get sad, bro. I just had no outlets. I'd try sports and whatnot. That's also a good outlet, but there wasn't fulfilling my creative.
Yeah.
Because my to need to write, to analyze, to like. I love watching film. I love seeing
I get
things. Like my YouTube is just filled of character analysis videos.
Yeah.
Like I love like certain films, like character breakdown of these characters, these tropes.
Yeah. No, I loved film. I used to do that. Like we used to make in high school, like me and Nicola, there were like film projects. We did the 48-hour film festival. We were like we would like sit down and I'd try to write like little short films.
Yeah.
You just things we'd do. And like we had no intention of making money. We just wanted to put out something creative.
Exactly.
And like a lot of the YouTube, what I was saying before, a lot of the people that like did make it and did go big started out like they didn't know like if they were going to be big, if they're going to be professional, if they're going to be successful, or if this was just going to be something they did for fun. And it has to be both. Like, you can be ready for the opportunity, like if you do go big. But at the same time, it's like if you're only doing it for like financial success, if you're doing something like a podcast or making short films or getting into this, and like
If
you're outside of the industry itself, like you're on YouTube or you're on Spotify, like you're making your own stuff, then you have to be prepared for like, okay, it might not make money ever, it might not make money for 5 years. You have to enjoy doing
like the
it.
money we've spent so far. What am I going to spend it on? Like maybe an extra like couple beers or something stupid. Like the money wasn't going to go to somewhere constructive anyway. So.
Yeah, we don't have like kids we got to look after.
Yeah.
We're just young.
Yeah,
by
exactly.
ourselves, yeah.
Yeah, and you have the opportunity now to try stuff like this, like do a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
And
We have
just
nothing
it's
to
fun,
lose. Everything to gain. Yeah. But yeah, bro, I think you had a good point with like YouTube and stuff, and like just enjoying the process. And I think that applies to everything. Because any job, if you don't like the actual work, that's when it really feels like work. Like if it's just something you enjoy doing and you happen to get paid for it, that's like the sweet spot.
That is a sweet spot, but it's also like it doesn't actually. They always see this thing like if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. But like if you're doing something for money, it's different if you're doing it for fun.
Yeah,
I've
for
heard
sure.
so many artists and people being like, I loved making music, or I loved baking, or I loved whatever. Until I started being until I opened my own bakery, until I got a record contract.
Things get
now
serious.
It becomes work.
It hits that another level. It hits that. It gets to it like when you live
stressful,
off
but
it,
it's also-
or when it gets serious.
Yeah, it adds stakes to it. You're no longer doing it for
Exactly,
fun.
the pressure.
And I think that even if you do, like people, Robert, what's his name?
De Niro. I'm joking.
No, the guy who made Spy Kids. What's his name?
Spy Kids.
Yeah, he also made all those the
Is he a
El
director?
Mariachi trilogy. Yeah, he's Tarantino's best friend. Robert Zemeckis. No, anyway.
Shout out Robert.
I'll remember the name later. But like he was going on the show, like he has this pizza oven, and he does all this cooking, and he makes everyone that comes to his house draw for him, and he does art, and he does all of this because he's like, well, I used to love making movies, and I used to love making independent film, so I became a filmmaker, and now I need hobbies. Now I need something outside of it. Because now filmmaking, the thing I did as a hobby as a kid, is now my job.
Yeah.
So now I need other things to do.
Other things to fulfill.
Yeah, because like if everything is your job, and that's the problem with hustle culture, is it turns everything into a money-making scheme. It makes everything very high stakes, and it like, and you know what we were saying earlier about like reading books. The difference between like reading a really easy book and a hard book. The hard book takes a lot of mental energy and effort, and then when you turn everything into a hustle or something to make money, then it all requires a lot of effort and mental energy.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything just because you enjoy it. It's like if this podcast was meant to be your one source of income, this podcast would be way less fun. Like, you would be stressing, you'd be working all day.
Schaefer, give us the clips. Give us the bits. Say something controversial.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like holding a gun to you, bro,
Yeah.
but like, you know, give us the stuff.
Yeah.
Give us the goods. No, I get you. No. But it's just life, hey. That's just how life works. But
That's life.
rather, you know, the thing, expression I like is I'd rather cry on like my Lamborghini than on my bicycle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, if you're doing a job that is something you love and is creative, it's pretty much not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying don't. If you have the
I
opportunity,
love how you advocated for like, come to the film industry. Then like 5-10 minutes later, you're like, listen, the film industry can become a job.
No, well, I'm saying, like, yeah, if you like filmmaking,
Yeah.
you're going to have more fun at work in the film industry.
Yeah.
But then that can't be everything. Like if you turn one of your hobbies, and I'm not saying don't turn your hobbies and you can make money. If you are really good at baking and you love baking, and you get the opportunity to open a bakery to make money, do that because it's going to be more fun than
But
working your
you're-
desk job.
Yeah, definitely.
But then baking is not going to be as fun for you anymore. You're going to make money out of it, and your work is going to be more fun.
Yeah.
But then you need to find something else.
Like it's all
Yeah.
these
You need to
people,
have a
they
balance.
turn,
Exactly,
they
it's
turn
always
like
balance.
bakery. Like I saw someone open an Instagram page for like making crafts and stuff. Like, but that's crafts. Like that's something you should be doing on the side. That's your joy.
Yeah.
Why you trying to sell it on
Well,
Insta?
I don't know. If you have the opportunity to sell it on Insta, do it. But then the crafts aren't going to be your fun anymore. We always need like a balance between what's going to make us money, what's going to keep us successful, and then what's for fun. And if you have the opportunity to take one from the fun column and make money out of it, you need to find something else to put in the fun column.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll lose all your work-life balance and you'll turn into like a machine or robot. It's going to cause you anxiety and stress. You need to have something outside of the hustle culture, outside of capitalism. Your whole life can't be capitalism.
No, that's a fair point, bro. Alright, now we're just pausing the episode for a bit. I'm just here to remind you to please visit the YouTube page, subscribe to the YouTube page, like the video, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts, your feelings, give us a comment. All information will be super helpful for us. And, oh yes, hit the notification bell, ring the icon so that you don't miss an episode.
Yeah, and also please follow us on Instagram at _fundamental_podcast and like our photos, leave some comments, and watch out for all our latest clips as well as behind the scenes pictures and clips. Cool, back to the episode.
Alright, and we are back at it again. Andrew with the shock jock energy, that's what Schaefer said. I needed to have a bit more. He was like, wow, dude, because I was like, no, I like having Schaefer on the pod, nice, calm, soothing voice of reason.
I don't normally get calm, soothing voice.
Voice of reason.
I get told I'm too loud.
Really, bro?
Andrew's
You're
the
not that
first
loud,
person
dude.
to ever tell me that, like,
You're like
oh,
a
it's just
good
so
loud.
calm.
Nah, bro, I mean, you got like radio voice, like you like the guest, you know? Where me, I'm like, wow, you're listening to... But that was always my dream growing up.
Well, it's radio.
I wanted to be a radio host. That was like my
Really?
dream job.
I mean, it looks so fun. Like, when we were growing up, we were watching Wackhead on the radio every morning.
Yeah, bro. And then it was
It's
like,
wild.
I'd sometimes during assembly or something, not assembly, like, you know, morning lineups, I'd put in like earphones and I'd have the radio on just to like listen to the pranks and stuff. Because I was like, because you'd only do the pranks at like, so we lined up at like 7:15. So I'd always miss it. So I was like, no. I'm
You
putting it
gotta
in.
listen.
I'm hearing this.
Yeah, that was
That's
like a
funny.
weird, like, viral cultural thing. Like, only for, like, Joburg. Like,
What, the
growing
pranks?
up listening to Wackhead and the pranks.
But he's like back now, kind of.
Is he back?
I
I've
heard
heard
him
him.
doing pranks like a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
But I was in Cape Town. I didn't know what happened to him. And then I turned on the radio
version,
down in
yeah.
Cape Town. And I heard him and I was like, holy shit, he's still here. He's
Yeah.
still doing great. I thought he
Yeah.
retired.
No, man. I remember man moved to Cape Town or
Yeah.
whatever. And then
Yeah.
he's singing. Apparently, has like a comedy place there.
Like a comedy club.
Yeah, a comedy club, something like that.
That's cool.
That would be sick.
We
dude.
should go there.
Yeah, dude. Honestly,
Road trip down to Cape Town.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
did the
fun.
drive to Cape Town. It was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it.
16
Really?
hours, but you have
Yeah.
a sick playlist.
Yeah, that was the most important. Like I listened to pop punk the whole way down. It really gets you going.
Respect.
Driving 180, no 120.
Did you stop the?
I
way.
stopped like halfway in between, in this like tiny town.
Okay, cool.
Did you do it all in one day, or like did you?
No, I divided it over 2 days. So you would drive like 10 hours the first day, wait, and then like 18 the next day. Like with stops.
Yeah, 100%.
So it was a bit more than 16, but yeah.
Oof, that hectic, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we definitely got to do something.
Yeah,
When
dude.
you get back.
Yeah, when I get back in 9 months' time,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Your hair's gonna be
It's
longer.
really
You're just gonna come back
It'll
with like
be
a
so
shaggy
much
beard.
longer. I gotta resist the urge to cut it this time.
Why?
I don't know. I cut it last time and
Yeah.
it got really long. I think I
But
just
you
gotta
wanna grow
keep
it again?
growing. Yeah.
What
don't
what you aiming for? Like,
I don't know what I'm aiming for
Beyonce hair
really.
or what?
Yeah, like Beyonce hair. Yeah.
I
What's
reckon
your
it will
go-to
suit you,
for
bro.
long hair, Beyonce?
Do you know the thing? I keep my hair semi-short, bro, to like try to stand out, be a bit different from y'all. Cause check,
Yeah.
bam, long hair, bam,
Yeah.
long hair, bob.
Yeah, when you have everyone like William here, you gotta keep
that'd
only
be
long-haired
crazy.
people.
so we have
Yeah.
our one friend. His name's William. Sorry, just to give some
Yeah.
context.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, got to give
Yeah.
that context. But yeah, no, man's got like Jesus hair. Man's like full, like. If he walks out in like a robe and slippers, we like stress.
It's so common for kids our age after matric
Imagine.
though to grow out their
Yeah,
hair.
But
you
that's
know?
like that's a common like
Yeah, because you only can
Schoolboy
have
thing,
the
yeah.
opportunity. Like you can't do this after uni.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna work corporate with long hair. Come on.
Yeah,
Really, it's gonna be a lawyer, like in courts.
With
Getting
man
your hair
bun up. And then that's
your
how I'm gonna
face.
get the like I'm gonna like
they're normalizing. I'm glad they're like normalizing stuff like that. There's this one guy, he ran for Senate. He's like this activist, but he always wears a man bun with really long hair. And he's
I
like
respect
he's
that.
a constitutional lawyer and
Like,
like a
yeah,
political organizer. And there's like other politicians that they wear their tattoos out now. And it's like it's becoming way more common to like destigmatize stuff like long hair and tattoos. And it's like,
Yeah.
it should be destigmatized.
Exactly, it
Like,
doesn't
I'm a
affect
person.
who you are.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm a person. Doesn't matter. Like I'm doing like some crazy like
Yeah, this is
job
what I
or
was talking
whatever.
about earlier. Where it's like, if it doesn't affect anyone else, you should be free to do whatever you want. And like
Yeah.
that definitely is like, why do we regulate so much like long hair and tattoos? Like, why do we regulate like hair color, tattoos, stuff like that? Like,
Yeah.
like as long as you're not naked, what is this rules about the dress code?
Yo, bro, we're gonna
Like,
have all the
seriously.
nudists just like atting us.
Yeah, I mean, hypothetically, there is argument for nude. Like, I think like there should be. I was a big fan of the Free the Nipple campaign. Why are female nipples so stigmatized?
Yeah.
No fair.
I like
that's
that
true.
protest they did. It was they posted like shirtless photos of themselves, but they cropped male nipples over.
Yes.
They're like, well,
Yeah.
you're cool with the male nipples, and you say we have to cover only our nipples.
Yeah, and I've done it. I've photoshopped
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
own male
It
nipple.
is kind of a weird thing when you think about
like
it.
why?
Yeah.
How did that end up?
Well, I heard this thing that it's like most societies, like 80% of human cultures, did not view breast as like sexual. They did not sexualize breast, right?
Yeah.
It is only like a European thing to view them as like a sexual thing. So it's like it's not actually a biological attraction like genitals are. It's like a shared societal kink. It's as if we
Oh, I see
all
what you're saying.
developed a foot
like more
fetish
of a trend,
for
yeah.
breasts.
I see. So basically, a bunch of Europeans were like, "We should colonize
Yeah.
the world, and then we're gonna give
Like, yeah,
them our
through-
weird boob
through
fetish."
European colony. And that's why you see so many pictures of like the traditional African tribes they didn't cover up because it's like it
Yeah.
wasn't stigmatized.
Yeah, it was probably
it wasn't
like-
seen as sexual.
Yeah,
Women and men could walk around shirtless and it wasn't a sexual thing.
it was like, "Yo, this is just."
That is a European
Yeah.
value that we've
Yeah.
prescribed onto like the whole world now because of like European centrism.
correct. Heavy,
Yeah.
bro. Heavy.
Yeah, that was a weird turn in the podcast. Dude, I'm glad that I can keep giving you these like weird twists.
Bro,
in the
I
podcast.
love it, dude. Like,
It's going in
here
crazy
for. I wanna-
direction.
Do you know the thing? It's like, have you ever done those challenges? Have you seen those challenges on Wikipedia where it's like you start with like Teletubbies and then you must make your way to like Barack
Yeah.
Obama,
Oh, yeah.
and you have to like click
We
links
used to
the
do
top.
that. I did that in Israel, like as a hobby.
Yeah.
Like as a game when we were playing, when we were like waiting at the Airbnbs and stuff. We would just go and we'd come up with a random thing and we'd have to figure out who can get from one
One way
the
to
other
another thing
on
in like the shortest
Wikipedia.
possible time.
Yeah.
Bro, apparently, if you keep clicking on Wikipedia, you get to philosophy like 90 or 80% of the time. If you just keep clicking links, if you keep clicking,
That's crazy.
you're eventually going to end up on philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that just blew my mind. Sorry for a random fact of the day.
No, that is interesting. I wonder why philosophy is such a big part of
because it like always ends up with Latin.
Probably.
Yeah,
It
like
gets
the
back-
terminology and stuff. Probably.
Or maybe if you
Who
go
knows?
like, any country, any politician, any
Yeah.
war, anything.
Like,
you'll
I want
eventually always
to
end up
see.
on like some sort of philosophy.
Yeah.
Imagine you go from like, I don't know, like Trevor Noah to like George Bush or something crazy. But that's easy link in American,
that's super easy.
Yeah. No,
Just-
bro, it's more like going from like cupcakes to asses, dude. That's
The thing about it is like it's not that hard to do it from one thing to another thing on
Yeah.
Wikipedia at all.
Cute
because-
puppies to Boko Haram.
Well, the thing is, that 6 degrees of separation rule.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
like every person is 6 degrees away from every other person.
Yo,
Yeah.
like I know
So
someone.
Wikipedia has
Like
to be another topic.
any person, like I know Beyonce somehow.
Yeah,
through
6
Yeah.
degrees of separation.
Come on the
You'll-
pod.
crazy.
Yeah, you sort of invite everyone you know on the pod.
Yeah, and then
You have to
somehow
get everyone they know to invite everyone.
and then you're gonna get Beyonce eventually.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
will get Beyonce.
I was
on the
doing
pod.
that the other day because I was trying to fact check if that works. Like, how do they do the
Yeah.
math? And I was just in my calculator because I was like, yeah, if you do anything with the power of 6, it's like I don't remember the number, but it's like way more than the Earth's population.
Oh, I see.
So that's how it works.
Yeah.
So basically, like, if it's everyone you know times everyone they know times everyone they know
Yeah.
to the power of 6, right? It eventually becomes way more than the Earth's population if you average out that everyone knows at least 100 people.
Yeah. Sure, bro.
Hey,
That's higher level math.
that's yo, bro. I was scratching my head there. I was like, listen, how are we gonna?
I was like, dude, what's
Yeah.
a power game, bro? Like, it's
Like,
been a
This is
minute
the
since
second
high
rule.
school. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so bad at math back in high school.
Bro, I feel like
I was
there was very few people that's actually good at maths. Everyone else just had to like wrap their head around
there were a
it.
lot of like intelligent
time.
people at our high school.
Maths, you either get or you don't, bro. It's a lot of practice, but like to
I know
enjoy
what you
maths, you have to understand it on like a weird fundamental.
Yeah,
level.
these people,
Yeah.
the people that chose to study accounting, I never understood them. Just like dedicating your life to numbers, could never imagine.
Couldn't be
Yeah,
me.
bro.
Couldn't be me.
Couldn't, yeah, no, couldn't
Being
be
a
me.
mathematician, it's crazy, dude.
Mm.
But I mean, like, I feel like how mathematicians used to be looked at, and a lot of people that would have gone into mathematics are now going into like computer science and things like that.
Oh yeah, that's
Because
a lot
like
of
coding
math.
it's like math with words in a way, because it's the same logic essentially.
And it's
Just
more
coding the
useful
programs. Yeah.
because
And
like you can
so
actually
much more profit.
you see a result. Yeah, you actually see a result. Like
Yeah.
besides doing
Yeah.
maths all day.
Yeah.
No, I saw something like that. Like people do, if you can take like a few week course, to basically teach you the new terminology. If you have a degree in math,
Yeah.
to teach you how to like run all the coding programs.
Yeah.
Because you already know how to do the math.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
just
all
need to-
logic based.
How to apply it to the computer.
Yeah, it's just like
it's
the
very
syntax
easy to
and
learn
stuff.
that
Yeah.
part once you already know all of the math.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
I wonder
It
if
is.
people are doing that because, like, yeah, it's obviously a bigger field, and like, if you have the degree in math, it probably, you have more opportunities if you switch to computer science.
Yeah, definitely. And as we were saying, like, it's the same logic. And I mean, it's very sought after at the moment because, as we were saying earlier, like, how everything's going online. I mean, whatever industry in, you need to be online. You need to be using computers. Everything's got a website. You
Bro,
know.
the only math I care about is algorithms.
Yeah, you figuring you're gaming the
Yeah.
YouTube algorithm.
Besides YouTube, Instagram, everything, I'm trying to gain like TikTok algorithm.
I'm so obsessed with the TikTok algorithm because, like, it's being used now to like destroy the minds of teenagers.
Alright, now we're just pausing the episode for a bit. I'm just here to remind you to please visit the YouTube page, subscribe to the YouTube page, like the video, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts, your feelings, give us a comment. All information will be super helpful for us. And oh yes, hit the notification bell, ring the icon so that you don't miss an episode.
Yeah, and also please follow us on Instagram at _fundamental_podcast and like our photos, leave some comments, and watch out for all our latest clips as well as behind the scenes pictures and clips. Cool, back to the episode.
Right, you're asking me when we were briefly off camera there.
Yeah,
It's telling me I need to explain what gaslighting is.
that's like people
All right.
are like you need to gaslight people, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what does
just
that even
gaslight,
mean?
gatekeep, girl boss. That's the vibe.
What does that mean?
Alright, so gaslighting comes from this movie from like the 40s or 50s, I don't remember.
Correct.
Called Gaslighting, right? And it's basically this guy like uses a gaslight, like a lamp, to convince his wife or his girlfriend that she's gone crazy, right? Because like the light will start shining and he'll be like, what light? What are you talking about?
Oh, shucks.
And so like gaslighting is basically this term. It's like you lie and manipulate someone to think that they're crazy. So like when they're like,
Wow.
and like girls are complaining about it because like they've been saying like guys gaslight them all the time. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, they'll have like real concerns and they'll bring them up and they'll be like,
Yeah.
what concerns? What are you even talking about? That's not what's happening.
Ooh, okay.
Why are you acting like this?
It's
Like-
bad for mental
like-
health.
Yeah.
not solid.
So like it makes them think like they're the crazy ones. And
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And it's not just girls, but like it's brought up most commonly in a conversation about like relationships and like
Yeah.
how men behave in relationships. But like you can use it anywhere, you know. It's
Yeah.
like a manipulation strategy.
Yeah, just like gaslight, like any like
Yeah.
if we debating, I'm gonna be like, I never said that, Schaefer.
Yeah, even if you did.
You mad, bro? Like, what's going on?
So basically, politicians.
Politicians use they use.
In their debates and stuff, bro. I'm sure they.
That's
sure
one
use it all the
strategy you
time.
can
Yeah.
use in a debate. We never use that in a debate because debates have moderators.
Yeah.
And like if you say something, yeah, like in high school debate, the idea is to win. So
Yeah.
like there's a judge like watching you.
Yeah.
So like you can't just be like, well, my opponent said this in the last round, and then you can't just say like, no, I didn't, because like they're there, they heard you say.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a Jamie,
Yeah.
to check.
Yeah. Fact check everything, dude.
You need a fact checker
That's the
on
guy
this thing.
from Rogan.
Yeah, that's the guy from
Oh
Rogan.
yeah.
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 We need a fact checker for this episode because Schaefer's been like
I've
giving
not
us
said any. Oh, I've did some like analysis.
You've exposed.
I have.
You've exposed the fourth Jonas brother. You've exposed. Sorry, that caught me out.
Yeah,
You've exposed what
bonus
gaslighting means. It's a very
Yeah.
educational show, bro.
It is.
This is my role. I'm here to educate.
Bro,
You should
Bro,
bring in
you're
a
basically
segment.
professor, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
you should bring
we're
us in
at
a
school right
segment
now.
like once a week. I'll just like explain a random topic.
We could do that.
that would be so fun.
That would be fire, dude.
Yeah.
Just like an Instagram reel, like a
Yeah.
60-second or whatever it is.
Bro, yeah, like I'm a Neanderthal half the time, so hit me up, bro.
Yeah, just the first week. How do exhaust pipes work? No reason. Just
That's a
'cause.
great question, though, bro.
Makes
I don't know.
Not
That was a
clue.
bad example.
I like
I
how you
don't
picked the
know.
one thing you have like no knowledge.
No,
on.
no.
Yeah.
I was just thinking because I was looking at the driveway and I was like, I need an example.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You could be like, what's the basics of neoliberalism?
Yeah.
The fundamentals of neoliberalism, and
Well, you
Yeah.
could do that too. You're studying politics.
Yeah.
Have you covered neoliberalism yet?
I'm studying politics.
Studying.
Yeah, we did do very
That was a-
briefly neoliberalism.
Yeah.
It was like 2 sentences.
I don't even
or
know what
something
that
in the
means,
textbook.
but yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Shaker,
like
go.
an economic philosophy about deregulation and international globalism sort of thing.
Easy,
So
right?
it's kind of the way I like explain it. Is like if the libertarians involved, like the government gets in the way of capitalism, neoliberalism it says like no, the government should be there to assist the capitalists, whereas progressivism should be like the government needs to protect the people from the capitalists. So
Yeah.
like neoliberalism is a sort of idea that the role of government is to help the large corporations increase GDP and the wealth will trickle down. It's basically
Trickle-down theory.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
foundation of trickle-down economics. It was popularized by Reagan,
Yeah.
and trickle-down economics was part of it. Reagan
That does not
and
work, though. but-
Margaret Thatcher. Yes, no, neoliberalism is a failed ideology.
Yeah.
But a lot of politicians, particularly in the West, and also the IMF, which
Yeah.
is like going around giving people loans and convincing them to adopt neoliberalism, they love it because, well, they work for the rich people, and neoliberalism makes people very rich if you already have money. to
Yeah,
start.
100%. Whoa, heavy.
Anyway, what else do you need me to explain?
Everything, dude. Just,
Oh, no.
just
Once
give us
a week.
crash
man.
course on
Friend
life.
of the show. Friend
Yeah.
of the show.
And it was
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, bro. So what do you know about? Let's go with the one thing you know about
TV
but you're
shows.
not.
Well, we were talking about TV shows
Yeah,
earlier.
I was like, are you
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
bring up like sitcoms?
Sitcoms?
No.
Have you been
TV
watching this Ted Lasso?
Yes, I love Ted
I love it.
Lasso.
It's so good.
Who's Ted Lasso, guys?
Dude,
What are we talking
what
about
are you-
here?
Ted Lasso is an American football coach who was
Yeah.
hired to coach a Premier League team.
Now
Okay.
in the championship.
Now, in season 2.
Spoilers.
warning.
Yeah, for season 1.
Yeah, so he gets hired.
I mean, to be honest, it's a sitcom where everything else is important and the soccer's just there.
yeah, they very
I
much
see.
don't emphasize the soccer, but the soccer does kind of drive
Like the show's the heart. Like it's more heart. It's more about the characters. Like
Yeah.
that just happen to. It's about people that just happen to be involved with soccer.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's so funny. This guy, he tells all these, but and it's sort of like everyone else is like one of these like cynical British people,
Yeah.
like angry, very dry sense of humor. And then he's this guy, and he's like obsessed with dad jokes and puns.
Yeah.
And he's so optimistic about
And
everything.
references.
Everything. And it's like they clash, and it's very fun. And he doesn't know anything about soccer,
Not at all, bro.
which is good
How
for
did
me
he
because
get the
I don't know
job?
anything
That's
about
wild.
soccer.
So he got the job. It's basically episode 1 spoiler, but like he got the job because an ex-wife of the owner took over. Like
Yeah.
she got the club in the divorce.
And
And
she wanted to destroy it to like get back at her husband for
Yeah.
cheating on her.
Yeah, kind of heavy things.
Yeah,
Hectic.
like I'm fully on her side when I watch this show. Like,
I mean, she
soccer
grows
is-
on you. She grows on you. You know that where she's from. Have you ever
Where?
watched Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
She's the shame lady.
she's the shame lady.
So, but,
wow,
did you not, bro?
I did not realize.
So this character
that.
in Game of Thrones, later on in the series, she's
Yeah.
like a super like religious nut, bro. She's like their version of religion in the Game of Thrones universe, bro.
Yeah.
And she's like Mother Teresa if she was like
a nun.
but an evil, like super evil, like dictator Mother Teresa, like
Oh, wow.
she's like super like religious, bro.
Yeah.
Some people would argue real Mother Teresa's.
That's-
I'm
I
not
didn't-
getting
I
into
didn't-
that.
I didn't even know about that.
Wild.
Wild. But yeah, no. So basically, one of the characters, and she like carries a bow,
Yeah.
and if you do anything a bit promiscuous or if you do something wrong, she goes shame, shame.
Game
She's
of
like
Thrones was a very disappointing show. The way they
Dude,
ended
I
it.
reckon
Oh,
the
man.
book
really?
should cover. I like the law around it.
Those books are never coming out. It's been 10 years since the last book was supposed to be released.
I just like the universe. It's just a
I
fun
enjoy
universe.
the
Like,
universe.
I think it's like an incredible skill to build a world because I can write interesting
He has
characters
such
and
good
stuff.
world building, actually. Yeah.
Mm. But to make he made a history, a philosophy, a religion.
You know, he also I read something about like his writing and his advice, and he says like he hates fan fiction because in fan fiction you do everything. You come up with a plot, you invent characters, you invent stories. But the one thing you don't do is you use someone else's world, right? And that robs you of the skills of world building, which you need if you're going to ever publish your own works. And like I know a lot of fan fiction actually writers, they just like they change the name of the characters and all those things and publish it because you can't publish stuff based on other people's copyrighted books.
Correct.
But you can change all the names, characters, and location,
Yeah.
and then you have an original book. Like so many people I've heard of that have written like thousands of pages of fan fiction that can those can publish that. You just have to.
So
change
you
it,
just
yeah.
so basically
Yeah.
there's like a book out there called Larry Crofter.
Yeah, I mean, look, 50 Shades of Grey is a fan fiction of Twilight.
Yeah, just
Really?
without
Yeah,
vampires.
wild.
They he wrote this Twilight fan fiction, and then she changed all the names, took out like the supernatural stuff, and published it. And it was one of the most successful books in the world.
Jeez.
Middle-aged moms. No, I'm joking. Carried that
And
franchise.
Twilight was also fan fiction about the band My Chemical Romance.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you joking.
I'm serious. She based it off
Wow.
of what's his name?
Well, the guy
the lead singer
of My Chemical Romance.
yeah. And she basically
Have you ever heard of My Chemical Romance?
No.
You don't
bro.
listen to My Chemical Romance?
The
I feel
Black
like me
Parade.
and you are like,
Yeah,
talking
we-
about all this nerdy stuff like Game
I have
of
no
Thrones and
clue
My
about
Chemical
half.
Romance.
Yeah.
And then Tristan's just here like, yeah.
Yeah, bro. I'm just being educated on these worlds of Game of Thrones and random things. Yeah.
You need to be nerdy, dude. You need to. This is
gotta-
the new wave.
You got to
Dude,
embrace
not a chance.
nerdiness a little. I'm telling you, bro. We got to get Tristan into something. We'll maybe make him watch all the Marvel movies or something. It's a great way
But
to
like
start.
Marvel is just like
Nah, bro.
maybe
I
super
watched like
mainstream.
one, and
Yeah.
I was like, alright.
When did I take you to Star Wars? I think I took you to one
I
of
think,
those.
I think you like made me go to like one, dude. I
Yeah,
was
but
like,
it was sequel Star Wars.
Which one did you go?
why are we doing this?
Sequel Star Wars. One
I
of
have a hot take that The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie. I think that's my hottest take. I don't know. It's so
That's wild.
good. It's so good.
something today,
like
but
this
that
great
cuts me for some reason.
deconstruction of what Star Wars is and why it's important, and I loved it. It was the best. I think
this is
third
episode
one-
2, and I'm walking out.
What did they say? The Rise of Skywalker, awful, horrible.
It's a New Hope Part 2.
No. That was is that Rise of Skywalker, which is the last one.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm talking about New Hope, like the first of the sequels.
I don't even remember the first
names.
of the sequels' names.
No, Force
It
Awakens.
was so the Force Awakens. Yeah,
With
that
the
was
New Hope Part
It was
2.
fine. It was very generic. You know, that's what what's his name, J.J. Abrams does.
Yeah, and then. You know, that's the thing. They kept changing the vision and the,
They
the
switched it
directions.
to Ryan Johnson, and I love Ryan Johnson is a great director. Have you watched Knives Out?
I've heard about it. I've definitely
It's
heard
good.
about it.
It's like
yeah.
if you like mysteries.
It's like it's literally Cluedo the movie.
Yeah, it's very good. I like
Jeez.
it. But
That's wild.
yeah, like
bro.
Ryan Johnson is all about like deconstruction. Like if you watch Knives Out, he's like deconstructing the mystery genre and tropes, and he's going into it. And he was deconstructing Star Wars with that, and I thought it was so good in The Last Jedi. And they switched back and they like retconned half the movie. And actually, that didn't happen. It was just a mess. But
Yeah, I like. All thinking Snoke was going to come back and all those.
yeah. What is Palpatine? They just added Palpatine.
They
there?
just brew. He was the
Spoilers,
MacGuffin.
by
He
the
was.
way.
Yeah, he was. You're going to sit through 9 Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like he was the big bad MacGuffin. You know the we need the blue sky beam.
The sky beam. Yeah. They did have a sky beam.
Yo, what's a sky beam?
So it's a common trope in like sci-fi
Yeah.
that like a big laser is going to destroy the world,
Yeah.
check.
or like
If
a
you
big
watch-
blue portal is going to
If you
open
watch
up for
like
aliens.
superhero movies or like
Yeah.
like sci-fi, like what is it? Like Independence Day. They all have like big sky beam, like a big laser in the sky,
I see.
like for the big final battle.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
busy like, we gotta switch off the laser, guys.
Yeah.
We gotta...
So it's like the final mission almost.
Yeah,
To
always.
save the world.
Yeah, you gotta-
Because it's big and they can do it with computers. It's really
Yeah.
cheap to do it.
Okay. Sure. That's wild, dude.
It's been the biggest antagonist to filmmaking
Yeah.
since modern filmmaking.
Yeah, you know. I mean, there's all these tropes, and filmmakers always fall into them.
Yeah, 100%. Like stereotype sells because like I was watching what's his name? Born Identity. His name.
Yeah.
Born. That's his name.
Jason Bourne.
The characters.
No, the actor.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. I was watching one of his interviews and he was saying that the movie industry has to bank on sure sales successes. There's no
because
more
they've-
indie
Well,
films
there's
anymore.
like indie films that are made for like less than $1 million.
Yeah.
And then there are $100 million blockbusters. And there's nothing in between anymore. Everything in between becomes a show on Netflix or a direct to Netflix movie. Right? And that is why. So they've killed, like, there used to be things like, you know, like.
That's why
$40 million
rom-coms used to
Rom-coms used to be like $20 million. You can't pay $20 million on a movie because either the movie is going to be the biggest movie in the world or no one's going to see it and it's going to get some awards.
Yeah.
So like, and like it does give a lot of opportunity for independent films. Those are becoming quite more popular. More people are investing in them because like the only alternative is multi-million dollar blockbusters.
Correct. Yeah.
No one can afford to make that many of. But then when you do make these big blockbusters like the Marvel movies, the Star Wars movies, they have to hit. They have to. That's why you can't take risks. You can't.
Like, for example, why do you
Yeah.
think people bend over, like Fast and Furious actors, like John Cena bended over
Yeah.
for like apologizing to China and stuff like that because
Yeah.
they needed the Chinese revenue to
Yeah.
bang.
Yeah.
And like the Fast and Furious movies, I like them. They're great. They're entertaining. But they
100%.
have to be broadly entertaining. That's why the reason I like The Last Jedi. Like that actually took so much risk. Like compared to the others, like the Solo movie was so generic.
I didn't
But,
even
like,
watch it.
Yeah, it was so bad. And like the first one, The Force Awakens, also it was just the New Hope.
Yeah.
It was exactly the plot. They didn't take any risks. With The Last Jedi, they subverted all expectations. They changed the way what we expected from Luke. They changed what we expected from Kylo. They killed the main villain off halfway through the series. Like I've never seen a blockbuster do stuff that like I wasn't expecting.
It was also trying to do damage control. There was a lot of I need to fix from that movie, from this movie.
Yeah, but there's always going to be that when you keep changing directors. You know, I think that the reason the Marvel movies I think are more successful than the Star Wars movies.
One director, one vision.
They have the producer Kevin Feige, and he's in charge. He has final say in everything. None of the Marvel TV shows have a showrunner. They're Kevin Feige is the showrunner on all the shows.
Do you know what? I'm upset that are the Netflix ones in the same universe as the movies?
I think they've retconned them out because Kevin Feige didn't make those, so I don't think he ever wants to cross them over. Like they're technically
Bro,
in the
like
universe.
Daredevil was so good.
Daredevil was really good. I didn't finish the third season.
I was like halfway through season 2, but like Daredevil, that first season of Daredevil is masterpiece. Really.
And
It's,
that
like,
first
quality.
half of season 2 was The Punisher.
Was it also good?
The Punisher versus Daredevil, so good. And then when they do the trial of the Punisher and Daredevil's the lawyer, that's so interesting. Like, that's something you would never see in like a movie. It's something that could only exist on like a Netflix show. Because they're not going to take 2 episodes out of like a movie.
Yeah.
Or, like, 30 minutes out of a movie. To do a trial where Daredevil has to be a lawyer. And Daredevil is a lawyer. So like to have him be on trial and then put a superhero on trial, that's something that can only really happen on a TV show.
Exactly. A series-based sort of thing.
Yeah, something where you have like the longer runtime where you can like pad out the characters. And like that's something, the Marvel movies don't get because that is in the comics, but it's not very much in the movies because again, the movies have to be these $100 million blockbusters.
That and the movies are basically the comics' greatest storylines in a snapshot.
Yeah.
So like
Well,
comic
like
book
the big crossover event.
Yeah, and like their biggest storylines, like snipped, cut, paste, put into like as quick as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like as trimmed down.
Yeah, when you change the genre, you get like a thing. So like comic books can tell stories.
The medium, you mean?
Yeah, the medium. Sorry, the comic book can tell stories over like 2 years, issue a week. They can take time with the characters. Movies are 2 hours long. It means it's a very different way of telling a story, just off the bat. So to tell like the same story with the same characters is not going to be possible. You have to change and you have to make things. And you do lose something, but you also gain something. Seeing it in live action is more interesting.
I feel you. All right, and that's it for us today. We've been here for a while, and we got some nice insight from Schaefer. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Can't wait for the episode to come out.
Oh, bro, it's going to be incredible. I'm super excited.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be great, bro. And hopefully we'll have you on the pod again when you get back.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Looking forward to it.
It will be great.
Thanks, guys.